Former FBI Director James Comey is indicted for alleged false statements and obstruction of congressional proceedings. President Trump, meanwhile, says Comey is pushing back on the charges, saying they're not true.
My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
Let's bring in Fox News contributor Miranda Devine. So when you look at that video of James Comey saying that to the camera, what do you think?
Well, I think that if I were his lawyer, I'd be having conniptions, because really, you're not supposed to open your mouth after you've been indicted. It just shows the arrogance of the man and sort of the nuttiness of him. You know, he was just a couple of weeks ago that he was doing that Swiftie, reading out words from Taylor Swift's songs and saying he was a Swiftie. I mean, I don't know how old he thinks he is. He just seems like a ridiculous figure, and his judgment throughout his tenure at the FBI was flawed, and he's just a weak and silly sort of man.
So when you go through the list of charges, he's charged with false statements within the jurisdiction of the legislative branch of the U.S. government and obstruction of a congressional proceeding. When nobody has studied the work, the Russia hoax that he perpetuated more than you have. Of these charges, which do you think are the more serious charges that he faces?
Look, I mean, it's about his lying to Congress, and the statute of limitations of 5 years was running out on Tuesday, so this had to be, I guess, thrown together in a hurry. And it's not the Department of Justice that has done this. It was a grand jury in a very liberal state, so, and a liberal area of that state in Virginia. So, you know, these are legitimate charges and they are serious. I think that it was a little disappointing. There had been some run-up to this with various people saying, well, you know, there's going to be conspiracy charges and it's going to include John Brennan and James Clapper and maybe even go all the way up to Barack Obama, who set the whole Russia hoax events in train. So let's think that this may be the tip of the iceberg. I know Mike Davis who's a lawyer. He thinks that there are many more charges to come, but this was just an easy one to pluck off the tree and say, well, we'll get it in before the statute of limitations is up. There's clear evidence that James Comey was untruthful when he testified 5 years ago. And so, you know, that's a serious charge. I mean, it carries obstruction, it carries actually 20 years, and the false statement carries 5 years. And there are people who are in jail, including, I will say, Alexander Smirnov, who was an FBI confidential human source, who was asked to give his handler information about Joe Biden, did so, and then ended up in jail for giving false statements to the FBI. So people have been jailed for this, and I don't think that Comey should be quite so glib.
Indeed. Miranda, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.